Hey babes, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Brandy. I am the host of the Be Real Babe show, and today, you guys, it's time for some internet insanity, and we're going to focus on the celebrity Hollyweird kind of world today. For those that are new here and don't know, this show was developed off of the Be Real Babe podcast, and on that show, for a long time, I've been talking about, and the girls have been talking about Hollyweird and all the weird shit that happened there. And that kind of turned into internet insanity and to what it is today on the Be Real Babe show on YouTube only. And so I thought we would dive into a little bit more of celebrities and Hollyweird and take a break from the true crime. And honestly, there's some crime and bad shit going on in Hollyweird as per usual, but there is breaking stories right now of what's going on with a beloved actor and producer and his alleged son having murdered him and his wife. So I wanted to report on that. There's also one thing that came up right now. I'm going to be doing an episode on Ozempic and GLP-1s on the podcast in the coming weeks. And as I was looking into that, I found an article that was pretty much a complete lie that had me falling down a rabbit hole because there's this huge trend, obviously, this huge craze of Ozempic and a bunch of actresses using it and all the allegations and gossip. And I found a story about Amy Schumer I wanted to talk about. And then lastly, we're going to talk about something that is around the holiday season. I was an article about how Jim Carrey needed help when he had to endure going through all the stuff he needed to for the Grinch. So I thought that was a good time to go over that article since it's that time. And I had no idea that he had to go through so much training and endure so much shit to go through the Grinch. So if you guys are interested in listening to those stories, stick around and we'll jump right in. All right, babes, as mentioned, oh my goodness, I cannot believe it. It is just over 1 week until Christmas. I hope if you are celebrating that you are ready to go and excited for the holiday season. And if you bah humbug and hate it, that is absolutely fine too. I hope you are enjoying the end of the year or the winter. And if you absolutely hate time and seasons, I hope you're just making it through, my friends. Time isn't real. Fuck it. Who cares? We're all a hologram. Am I right? But anyways, I got a new hat for you guys. I thought I was done hats, but I found another hat. And of course, yet another shirt. I am super excited. And like I said, a next episode will happen on Christmas Eve, even though I don't expect anybody to listen to it next week. I am going to be still be posting Monday, Keeping Up with Canada, and then Internet Insanity on Wednesday. And then I will be posting the podcast on Friday on the Be Real Babe podcast on Apple, Spotify, or Rumble. And I will be posting an episode of everything that happened in 2025 with myself, pop culture, Canadian politics, all that kind of stuff. Just a sum up of the year, just to close it out nicely. Very excited that I hit 20,000 plays on Spotify and Apple. So thank you guys so much if you listen to the podcast. If not, you should head over there. But anyways, guys, let's talk about some topics of today now. This actor and his wife, this is all breaking right now. I'm going to say alleged because, as it is in the Americas, you are innocent until proven guilty. So everything is alleged. Please don't sue me. But there is a breaking story going on now. I know a lot of people know this individual and this actor producer from all different ways. Where I remember him the most, honestly, and this might sound pathetic to everyone, but to me, he was Jess's dad on New Girl. That's as soon as I seen his picture, that's like immediately who I relate him to. And so obviously this is super devastating. There's a lot of conversation going on now about obviously what happened, what's going to happen, and then also, as usual, politics got themselves in there, and I think they should butt the fuck out. And when it comes to people dying, we should just not comment. We should just pray for the family. We should hope for answers to what had happened and justice. And I think we leave it at that. That's my personal take. Love it or leave it. I'm Canadian. Doesn't really matter how I feel about your Canadian or your American politics. I just feel like when it comes to death, we can leave that out, right? It's just the same thing like with Charlie Kirk. There was a lot of people that showed their true colors, and equally now on the opposite side end of that, the right's going to be able to show how they don't do that and that every person's life is worthy. And so hopefully we keep that sentiment. That's just my opinions, but let's go with what I know as of today. This is the night before it's posting. An article. There's two articles we're going to go over here. So this one was from the 15th, first thing in the morning. Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle were killed by their son. Exclusive sources. Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle Singer Reiner were found dead in their home, and their son Nick is now being questioned by the police. Again, there's things that are developing. I've read a story that it sounds like he is in custody as of right now, but when this article posted, he was not. Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle Singer Reiner were killed by their son Nick, according to multiple sources who have spoken with the family members. Police have not yet confirmed this account. On Sunday, December 14th, about 3:30 p.m., the Los Angeles Fire Department was called to a home to provide medical aid, the LAFD told People. Upon arrival, they found a man and a woman dead. Sources confirmed the victims were Rob and Michelle. Police say Nick, 32, is alive and being questioned. No arrests have been made. Again, this was at the time. It sounds like he's been arrested and being questioned currently. Rob is a director, producer, and actor whose career includes some of Hollywood's most beloved films, from his 1984 directorial debut, This is Spinal Tap, to Stand By Me in 1986, The Princess Bride in 1987, When Harry Met Sally in 1989, Misery in 1990, and A Few Good Men in 1992. Huge, huge movies back in the 80s and 90s. And like I said, as I mentioned, for me, he was I remember him most, obviously I was a little bit more of a kid here, from Jess's dad on A New Girl. And that's the first thing I thought of. He first became famous for his role as Mike on the Norman Lear TV sitcom All in the Family. Rob was born in the Bronx, New York in 1947. His father was legendary comedian Carl Reiner, and his mother was actress and singer Estelle LaBoste. Rob and Michelle met when Rob directed When Harry Met Sally, and the couple married in 1989 before having 3 children. Previously, Rob was married to late Penny Marshall, who died in 2018 at the age of 75 of complications from diabetes. In a 2016 interview with People, Nick spoke about his year-long struggle with drug addiction, which began in his early teens and eventually left him living on the streets. He said he cycled in and out of rehab beginning around age 15, but as his addiction escalated, he drifted farther from home and spent significant stretches homeless in multiple states. Nick told People that the chaotic period of addiction, including nights and sometimes weeks sleeping outside, later became the basis for the semi-autobiographical film Being Charlie, which he co-wrote. Now I've been home for a really long time and I've sort of gotten acclimated back being in LA and being around family, Nick told People at the time. So carry on later in the day, there's another article that kind of was talking about what perhaps had happened and led up to this. So Rob and his son Nick got in a big fight at Conan O'Brien's party hours before murders. He was freaking everyone out. Rob Reiner, 78, and his wife Michelle, 70, were killed in the family's Los Angeles home on Sunday afternoon, according to police, which we already know. Rob and his son Nick got into a heated argument at a Saturday night holiday party the night before the director and his wife were murdered on Sunday afternoon on December 14th. Multiple sources at the party tell People. TMZ first reported on Monday that Reiner, 78, and his 32-year-old son got into a very loud argument at a Christmas party hosted by Conan O'Brien on Saturday night. 2 sources confirmed to People that Reiner and his son got into an argument at O'Brien's party. One of the sources tells People Nick was freaking everyone out, acting crazy, and kept asking people if they were famous. Rob and Michelle, 70, then reportedly left the party after the argument. The couple were found slain in their Los Angeles home on December 14th. Sources previously told People the couple was discovered by their daughter, Rami. The Los Angeles Fire Department was called to Reiner's home around 3:30 p.m. local time to provide medical aid. First responders discovered Rob and Michelle. Nick was later arrested and charged with murder, and he's now being held without bail. There you go. See, Rob and Michelle have 3 children together, Jake, Nick, and Rami. Nick has previously spoken out about his struggles of addiction and homelessness beginning when he was in his teens. So absolutely sad. So obviously I'll keep up on this story and keep you guys posted. Obviously, this is going to be an absolutely huge, huge, huge case. People are saying this is going to be kind of like O.J. Simpson level trial cases. It'll be interesting to see. It'll just be interesting to see. I don't know what to say. The fact that he allegedly slit their throats with a knife, that's just a whole other level of fucked up. You'd have to be pretty close and feel very safe in your home, and I just absolutely most disgusting thing ever. I hope they have enough evidence to be able to prosecute him, and just thoughts and prayers to the rest of the family. I can't believe being the daughter having to walk into that. And then the night before, people, seeing this fight and probably not really thinking it's going to escalate to that. There's a lot of celebrities that were obviously sending out prayers and thoughts and really affected by this. And so, yeah, we'll keep posted on this criminal case as it continues. It's just absolutely fucked. I just cannot understand where we go from fighting to that. Allegedly, it sounds like there was a lot of blood in the hotel room that his son Nick was staying in. And that was extremely alarming, obviously. So it's going to sounds pretty secure that it was him, but obviously we're going to say allegedly because everyone gets a trial. But I'll be keeping up with this, you guys, obviously. And again, thoughts and prayers to the family. I am so sorry that this happened, and I really hope that people get help when they're this sick. I really hope that people get help. I don't know. I'm not obviously know anything about psychology or anything like that, but I don't imagine this just happens overnight. Maybe it does. Maybe he was on something. I'm really not sure. That's why I said I'll be interested in seeing what comes in through this case. But I just wish there was more help for people with mental health and addictions. And I'm not saying that would stop the situation. It just, what else do you do? The only thing I can think of is that people are obviously hurting and lost and confused and in the wrong spot, and support is the only thing I can think of, and being clean. But I mean, way easier said than done. I understand that. So as I mentioned, you guys, I have wanting to talk about Ozempic a little bit more, and GLP-1, something I have talked on the podcast on this show as well. And as I was going through, I found an article that said Amy Schumer was suing the owners of Ozempic and for her how sick she was. And so I was like, that can't be true. So obviously I went to look into it more, and that is not true. There's a bunch of different stuff about Amy Schumer and Ozempic and GLP-1s, but that is not the story. And I just thought, of course, it's just going to continue to get harder and harder, you guys, to know what's real and what's not. And I'm just going to say this. Anytime I talk about cruise ships, there is comments that people get very upset. I am reading insane stuff on the internet, you guys, okay? That is what this segment is about, internet insanity. I am reading stuff. Go look into it deeper if you think I'm not saying everything is true. I should put a disclaimer. I will remember in the next season to put a disclaimer in here. I'm just reading random shit, okay? I do not take me for fact. I am not a journalist. I am just someone on YouTube reading shit on the internet. That's crazy, okay? Could be fact, could be fiction. I don't know. But please don't take me for serious. Some people get very upset about the cruise ships, and I don't think I'm ever going to talk about cruise ships anymore. But anyways, just again, fact checking all the stuff and trying to do my best job to look into things as I'm looking up this Ozempic stuff. But then it fell down this article, which I never knew that this was a thing. So I thought we could maybe talk about it because, again, every single time. So there's this big craze, and I do want to talk about this more in the podcast, but there's this big craze where it was like body positivity, embracing your body, losing weight is fat phobic, it's disgusting, and all that kind of stuff. And obviously there is a part of that is disordered, and that's not wrong. There is a part of skinny talk, I've talked about it before, that is extremely toxic. There is also a side of the other talk that is also extremely toxic. And I think one big thing that is super upsetting is as soon as someone then in that movement loses weight, people freak out at them, or they're in their comment section saying, oh, it's Ozempic, oh, it's Mounjaro, it's a GLP-1. Some people it might be, some people might not be. And before I get into any of this, your choice, do what you need to do. Just please don't abuse medicines off label, because that's where things get dangerous. That is my only thing. I hope you have informed consent. If you watch the podcast, you know that is my number one thing, is me wanting people to have informed consent. Okay. So anyways, this led me to this article, and I thought maybe more people have this and they don't know about it. But again, it gets super frustrating, I'm sure, for people that have lost weight or sick to hear, oh, it's Ozempic, da 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 da. So let's go over this article from December 13th. What to know about Cushing's syndrome. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Which led Amy Schumer's dramatic weight loss. Comedian says weight loss was about survival, not appearance, as she battles hormonal disorder. Comedian Amy Schumer, 44, has recently come clean about her struggles with Cushing's syndrome, leading to a dramatic weight loss. Schumer's transformation has sparked conversations online, to which she responded in a now-deleted Instagram post that shut down speculation about cosmetic enhancements. I didn't lose 30 pounds. I lost 50, she emphasized on social media, adding that she does not get Botox or fillers. Schumer doubled down that her weight loss was not about her appearance, but about staying alive. Not to look hot, which does feel fun and temporary, she said. I did it to survive. I had a disease that makes your face extremely puffy, that can kill you, but the internet caught it and that disease has cleared. Sorry for whatever feelings it's giving you that I lost that weight, she added. I've had plastic surgery over the years. I use Mounjaro. Sorry to anyone that they let down. I'm pain-free and I can play tag with my son. The actress also addressed her shifting hormones, saying that she's happy to share more if anyone has a questions about how I'm looking or feeling or where I'm at in my perimenopause process. So what is Cushing's syndrome? Schumer previously revealed that she has been diagnosed with Cushing's syndrome, a hormonal disorder that causes extreme swelling, fatigue, and potentially fatal complications. Dr. Peter Balaz, a hormone and weight loss specialist in New Jersey, provided more details on the condition in an interview with Fox News Digital. Cushing's syndrome is caused by prolonged high exposure to cortisol, which is your body's main stress hormone, he said. Usually the excess cortisol is a result of prolonged steroid use. We see this many times with patients who have autoimmune disorders. Ballas said the key to Cushing syndrome is not just weight gain, but a specific redistribution of fat caused by too much cortisol. Fat may be driven to the abdomen, chest, upper back, referred to as buffalo hump or face, sometimes considered moon face, the doctor said. Cortisol also breaks down protein, which leads to thinning in the arms and legs. Weight gain can be tough involuntarily and hard to manage, he added. In addition to weight gain in certain areas, other symptoms may include pink and purple stretch marks on the stomach, hips and thighs, breasts and underarms, as well as acne, slow wound healing, thin and frail skin that bruises easily. Women with this syndrome often experience thick, dark hair on the face and body, as well as irregular periods. Symptoms among men can include low sex drive, reduced fertility, and erectile dysfunction. Mayo Clinic listed other potential symptoms including extreme fatigue, muscle weakness, depression, anxiety, irritability, mood swings, trouble with concentration and memory, headache, sleeplessness, skin darkening, and stunted growth in children. Those with these symptoms should contact their doctor immediately, especially if they're taking steroids to treat health issues like asthma, arthritis, inflammatory bowel disease, as these medications can exacerbate the condition. See, again, this is why I just want to talk about it because I had no fucking idea that was a thing. Maybe people know, maybe they don't know, but if you go back and look at any articles and pull them up and you look at, I'm not trying to be rude, Amy Schumer's face here at that time, it was, what were the years here? 2024 is when it looks like that was happening the most to her, to 2025 now. So if you go and look, you see quite a difference. I'm not trying to be rude, but it's true, right? So it is just really sad, and I couldn't imagine. And she does talk about how she did Ozempic and it just made her feel sick. And now it sounds like she's on Mounjaro, which is a different GLP-1, which I'm going to dive into a little bit more, like I said, on the podcast. And again, I'm not saying that's for people or not for people. I just think doing stuff off label gets very dangerous. I'm not saying that she is, but this was interesting. So I think a lot of the times just being mindful of people's comments, like, again, it doesn't really matter. Everybody's going to look different at healthy or unhealthy. And I guess there's a line, where it is kind of scary when you're talking, let's say, Eugenia Cooney, and you're talking about, let's say, Tess Holliday, Amber Lynn, and where people are talking about eating disorders and then binging and purging. And there's all about that, which I've kind of talked about on the show before. I understand it can get dangerous on both extremes. But yeah, it's just it's kind of crazy. Then immediately people are like, oh, you've gained so much weight. You must be eating too much. Or on the flip side, oh, you've lost a bunch of weight, you must be on Ozempic. And it's like, really, it could be someone being sick. It could be someone going through something. Sometimes medications do that. This syndrome, had no idea. So if you are experiencing that, obviously it seems kind of hard because it sounds like a lot of this stuff at a core is like what we get during our period. And that's so hard sometimes as women to be like, oh, I have all these symptoms, because sometimes it's symptoms of just your fucking period and being in your cycle. But just for no, I didn't know that was a thing. Now I know it's a thing. Feel bad for everyone. But at the same time, in this circumstance, it is true that she is taking a GLP-1. And I don't think that's anything to be shamed for if you're not using it like an idiot. But we should also still be aware of what people are doing if people are pushing this. I don't think she's pushing it. So, final one I thought I would talk about today, because I thought this was a super interesting article, and what a perfect timing, because it is obviously Christmas. And if you are like me, you love Christmas and you love the Grinch. And I had no idea Jim Carrey had to go through something crazy like this. So I thought I'd share this article with you guys. So it was written on December 16th, 2025. In 2018, Illumination Entertainment released what became the highest grossing Christmas movie of all time, The Grinch. Benedict Cumberbatch's voice version of the classic tale was a big hit, but anyone who grew up in the 90s and came from the age at the turn of the century will prefer Jim Carrey's portrayal in the 2000s, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. This beloved family comedy represents one of the best Carrey films of all time and surely evokes heartwarming memories for an entire generation. I've already watched it. Let's be honest. I've watched both already. But for Carrey himself, it probably evokes PTSD, as wearing the extensive makeup and prosthetics was an ordeal so harrowing it required the founder of SEAL Team 6 to counsel the star on techniques used to endure torture. I had no idea. I knew it was bad. I had no idea it was this bad. The Grinch started in the pages of the 1957 Dr. Seuss book, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. That story was then adapted into the beloved 1966 animated television special of the same name, which featured the voice talents of the great Boris Karloff. Since then, there have been multiple on-screen adaptations and continuations of the story, including 1982 television special animated by Marvel Production that saw the infamous Grouch team up with Cat in the Hat. When Carrey was cast in Ron Howard's 2000 adaptation, it couldn't have been a more perfect match. The actor had spent the 90s establishing himself as one of the all-time greats of comedy, especially the physical kind. As such, there was arguably nobody better placed to portray the formally illustrated and animated character in live action. Unfortunately, doing so became nothing short of a living nightmare for Carrey, who tried to quit partway through and only made it to the end of production thanks to the guidance of a Navy SEAL. That's fucking insane. Like halfway through, and could agree. Everyone knows, especially through the 90s when this came out, like just his mannerisms. Like if you didn't know, you knew it was Jim Carrey, and I don't think anybody could have done this better. I agree. How the Grinch Stole Christmas is one of the best Christmas movies of all time, and much of its charm emanates from Jim Carrey. The star is as compelling as he's ever been, bringing Dr. Seuss' creation to vivid life through his imitable physical stylings. All the time Carrey's Grinch is living up to his name, he still feels warm and lovable, which is really all down to the man behind the impressively elaborate makeup. Such a feat is only made more impressive by the revelations that Carrey was working under some of the most stressful conditions of his career. As it turns out, the makeup was an absolute horror show from start to finish, and in Vulture's oral history of the film, we learn in meticulous detail just how horrific it was. According to Carrey, the makeup initially took 8 hours to apply, prompting the star to tell Howard and producer Brian Gazer that he was quitting. At the time, Carrey had been offered an unprecedented $20 million to star in the movie, but was willing to give it all up to be released from his contract. Rather than acquiescing, however, Grazer looked for help and found in it, as Howard put it, a guy who trained the military on enduring imprisonment and torture. The guy was a Vietnam vet and the former U.S. Navy SEAL commander Richard Marcinko, who at one point became the first commanding officer of SEAL Team 6, the team that executed the raid that killed Osama bin Laden and whose efforts were chronicled in one of the best Navy SEAL movies ever, Zero Dark 30. As Grazer told Carrey, listen, you can't quit on Monday, but just spend time. Listen, you can quit on Monday, but just spend some time with a guy over the weekend. In Vulture's oral history of How the Grinch Stole Christmas, Jim Carrey explained that Richard Marcinko was a gentleman who trained CIA officers and special ops people how to endure torture, and provided the actor with a litany of things that I could do when I was beginning to spiral. This included punching himself in the leg as hard as possible and having a friend punch him in the arm. Other tactics included eating everything in sight, smoking cigarettes as much as possible, and changing patterns in the room, such as turning off TVs and turning radios on. As Carrey went to explain, there are pictures of me as the Grinch sitting in a director's chair with a long cigarette holder. I had to have the holder because the yak hair would catch on fire if it got too close. According to the actor, however, the most helpful thing was most unlikely. What really helped me through the makeup process, he said, was the Bee Gees. I listened through the makeup process to the entire Bee Gees catalog. Their music is so joyful. In the actor's recollection, the makeup artist eventually reduced the application time to just 2 hours. It still took a lot of hard work to get Carrey from walking out with makeup artist Rich Baker, chastising the actor by the way of recalling his own harrowing ordeal playing the creature in 1976 King Kong. After this, Baker claimed the actor became a lot better and finished up his incredible 92 days in makeup. Unsurprisingly, then, Carrey's one condition for making a Grinch sequel is that he doesn't have to endure any more makeup torture. Valid, my dude. Thank you so much for that. Oh my gosh, that is absolutely crazy. 92 days. And at the beginning, it was 8 hours to prep that makeup. And at the end, they got it down to 2 hours. Could you imagine? And then the suit and all of it. It's just, that is insane. So thank you so much, Jim Carrey, as if you're ever going to see that. But I am so sorry that you had to go through that. And it's incredible that instead of giving up, you were able to push through by the training of a Navy SEAL. How fucking cool is that? I hope that that is something, a skill that you could take forward in your life. And again, thank you so much because we love the Grinch. We love Christmas around here. I'm like Buddy the Elf, so cannot thank you more for that, Jim Carrey. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I mean, we're not going to enjoy the first episode or the first topic because that's absolutely horrific. But if you've been around, we talk about crime around here quite a bit and Hollywood and pop culture and news. So that made sense to talk about. And then the whole Amy Schumer thing was kind of interesting, really just reinforces that we really need to check into things. People can just publish whatever the fuck they want nowadays. So we got to be careful with that. And then the final one, just so everyone knows the sacrifice that Jim Carrey did for the Grinch. And we're thankful because there couldn't be anyone better. So reminder, guys, on Monday, we're going to do another Keeping Up with Canada. They're a bunch past. We're on week like 16 of this season. Couple more weeks left. I'm going to take a break and then upload the podcast. But don't forget, on Wednesdays, it's Internet Insanity. And then on Fridays, Apple, Spotify, Rumble, podcast. And if you're looking for me on social media this year, you can find me on TikTok or Instagram at the Be Real Babe or the Be Real Babe podcast. Thank you guys again so much for sticking around, and I will catch you in the next episode. Bye. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Until next time, bye.